Gorilla is a tool that allows behavioural scientists to author and deploy experiments online. So this is a demo of the main features of Gorilla. So let's start with authoring a simple change blindness experiment. So we create a new experiment, and there's nothing in our experiment at the moment. We go from start to finish without doing any tasks. So let's add something. Let us add a task, and we're going to add this change blindness experiment that I have authored before this demo. And then we can just hook it up into our tree. Now, before we preview it, let's set up the settings. The image duration, let's make that 2 seconds, and the mask duration 80 milliseconds. Save. And now we can preview our whole experiment here. Change blindness. On the next screen, you'll be shown an image that is changing periodically. Press I see it when you spot what is changing between the images. So that was a change. And when you spot what's happening, you'd press the I see it button. And here we've got a little bit of information about what change blindness is, which a participant could read after completing their task. So that was a little preview, but that's not ready to deploy online. We need to add a consent form and some demographics. So let us also add a questionnaire. Let's add our consent, okay. And let's also add our demographics. Okay. Let's make a bit more space for that within our tree. And now we've got our start, the consent, the demographics, change blindness, and finish. So that's looking quite good, but maybe we want to make a change to our demographics questionnaire. So we can open that in the editor. We can edit it. We have different elements that you add. So this is a markdown element, then a drop-down element, then another drop-down element here. Here's the markdown bit, about you. Please answer the following questions about yourself. We're worried that people aren't going to get this, aren't understand, so we can use markdown to format this in bold. So this is really easy for people to author. We've got our question about sex. Are you female or male? And somebody's pointed out we should have a I'd rather not say option. We've got our drop down about how old are you, and here are the categories. It turns out that actually we 60 plus is quite vague. 61 to 70, and then do 71 plus. Okay, and that's been added over here now as well. And finally, we want to add one additional question, which is going to be a slider. Here you go. And the slider is going to be, how observant are you? From left end, not at all, to I spot everything. Okay, I don't want the tooltip, but maybe I want it to start at 50%. And we're going to call this like observant rating in our metrics. So now we've added the questionnaire, we're going to commit this and add observancy question. Okay. And now when we go back to our experiment, we want to update to the latest version. And now when we preview this one, we can check all of our changes has come through. Yeah, we've got the slider now, so that's great. Return to the configuration. So now we have an experiment that we think is ready to deploy. So finally, before recruiting participants, we need to save these changes. So final experiment. And now this link will allow us to log in. So let me log out here. And I can log in as a participant. Here's my consent form. Yeah, I consent. Here are the questions. I'm female, I'm this old, and I'm pretty observant. Now I have my change blindness task. Oh yes, I see it, I see it. And then I have a bit of information at the end and I finish. So that is the whole process of creating an experiment to go online. Now, another thing that you can do with Gorilla is you can build more complex experimental designs. So let's have a look at what we could do here. We could add a randomizer, and we're going to have a mask 80 condition, which is going to get 8 participants, and we can have a mask 0 condition, which is going to have 8 participants, and this is balanced. So for every 16 participants, half will go to the mask 80 and half will go to mask 0. If we had another 16 participants, that would also be balanced as well. And so now I've got my randomizer. Let me hook that into this experiment. So that's my mask 80 condition, and if I add a new element, I want another copy of the task. I want the change blindness task. Okay, and stick it over here. Then I just need to set the image duration. We're going to keep that the same, but the mask duration we're going to make 0. Save. With randomizer to compare mask conditions. So an experimental hypothesis that we could have is that a mask of 80 milliseconds makes it harder to spot a change than a mask of 0 seconds, and therefore what we'd expect in our results is if we put 16 people through this, we would have a slower reaction time in this group than in that group over there. And that is an experiment that would allow you to do that.